We're in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and this video is going to be all about some of the best street food here in Saigon.
We've got a bunch of hidden street food gems lined up to share with you.
Saigon is a city that ignites the senses. Step onto the street and you're hit with delicious smells, the hum of scooters, and a city that's awash with colour. This is our fourth video from Ho Chi Minh City, and we're delving into the heart of the food culture. Watch out for smoky beetle leaf wrapped beef, our local spot serving up a soup filled with crab, brain, century egg, and tons more, and a delicious nighttime seafood feast. In this Saigon series, we'll show you some of the city's best food, from iconic street food to traditional Vietnamese dishes. You don't want to miss this series. Get ready for some mouth-watering food.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
We hope you're hungry. Let's eat.
The street food culture here in Ho Chi Minh City is insane. There is food to be found on every street corner. But with this Saigon series, we want to show you the best food, the best places to eat in Saigon. We are starting with something that is really delicious, one of our favorite things to eat when we're in Saigon, and that is bo la lot, which is a smoky beef wrapped in wild beetle leaf and cooked over charcoal. The smell of the bo la lot is so strong. So this guy here is just grilling up over charcoal the bo la lot, so there's parcels of beef wrapped in wild beetle leaf and just turning over those hot charcoals. It smells delicious. Ngon hoa. Whoa. Let's go in order. I love the atmosphere of this little family-run restaurant. So we're sitting in basically their front room of their house or their garage. So they've got the living quarters up there. You can see behind me there's a shrine to their ancestors, and then out the front they've just got their makeshift grill where they're grilling up the beef. So this here is the bo la lot, the beef that you saw cooking up out the front. So it's marinated beef wrapped in wild beetle leaf, and then they've just chucked a little bit of mayo, I think it might be, over the top, and then sprinkled a bit of peanuts. And then with the bo la lot you get this array of fresh vegetables and herbs and sauces to go with it, and it's so characteristic of Vietnamese cuisine. Like, it's so beautiful, really visually attractive. So we've got some rice noodles which have been woven into a mat, so a sheet of rice noodles. We've got some fresh vegetables, so we've got some cucumber, some bean sprouts, I think this here is star fruit, and then underneath here we've got a whole lot of lettuce and I think maybe mustard leaves for wrapping, and then fresh herbs to go over the top. So I can see there's Thai basil, there's fish herb, there's all sorts in there. And of course the dipping sauce is super important. So we've got a fish sauce, dipping sauce. It's also got, I think, vinegar and sugar in it, some chili, and also some rice paper wraps to wrap up the bo la lot. Eating bo la lot starts with a rice paper sheet. So you grab your sheet, you get some lettuce, and what I might do is just wipe the lettuce over the rice paper sheet to moisten it a bit because it's quite crispy. You can see the texture there, it's almost a bit like plastic. And then I'm going to add all sorts of things on here. So let's get a little bit of this rice noodle mat, and then I'm going to add some of this cucumber and also this star fruit. Now the Vietnamese are so adept at wrapping and rolling their food, and I am really useless, so you're going to have to bear with me. Add a few of these herbs for some freshness, and then of course the bo la lot, so the beef. So I'm getting a little morsel of the beef, dab it in that peanut. Alright, okay, so now it's time to roll. So I think we go like this. Alright, I've got my roll, and now it's time to dunk. So I'm going to add some of this chili into my fish sauce dipping mixture, and then just go like this. Alright, get that nice and coated. Oh, that is good. It is amazing. The beef is so full of flavor. It's quite sweet, and it's got a lot of herbs and spices in it. I can taste, I think maybe there's lemongrass in there. And the beetle leaf has a really beautiful flavour. It's quite subtle, a little bit like aniseed. It's not the beetle leaf that you see people chewing, say in India, as a stimulant. It's a different variety. It's perfect with that beef. Mmm. 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 Holy moly, that is good. It's so fresh. I love all the different textures. So you've got the crispy rice wrap, and then the fresh herbs are really juicy and moist, and then the beef is just packed full of flavour.
Next, we're in a part of town that we have loved while we've been staying here in Saigon. It is this amazing street that is all action. Sheena almost just got run over by that scooter. But you can see all around me the flowers. This is the flower market, this street. But as well as being the flower market, it's all action with street food. So it's got this beautiful smell of all these flowers, but it's also got these beautiful smells of street food. And we're gonna have a soup here, but it is no normal soup. It is a crazy soup with a heck of a lot of ingredients. You've gotta check this one out. It's down this little side street right in amongst all the market.
Xin chào. Whoa. Soup qua. Soup cool. Wow, so we found the little stall that's famous for doing this crab soup. I'm so intrigued by this because it's not just crab in the broth. There's something like 10 different ingredients, everything ranging from pork brain all the way to century egg, I believe. So it's looking really good. It's this huge pot filled to the brim with this soup. I can see actually the pig's brain floating on the top there. So right here you can see the pig's brain there, and there's also some quail eggs, some mushroom. It looks full of delicious looking ingredients.
Check out this bowl of soup kua. So it is a really good looking bowl of soup. I think probably the thing that stands out most is the texture of it. Look at that gloop. Serious gloop going on, and that's because the base of the soup is made with tapioca starch, so you get that really gloopy texture. And there is a ton of ingredients in the soup, so I'll just talk through the ones that are really obvious first. Probably the one that stands out most is this, so the century egg. So that's a preserved egg. It's been preserved in ash and lime, and so you get that beautiful jelly-like look to it and that colour. So a century egg, obviously not cured for a century, but that's been preserved in the ash to get it to that beautiful texture and colour. And the other thing that really stands out is this huge chunk of brain. So this is pig's brain, so a really big chunk of that, and that is breaking apart as I touch it. Look how creamy that is. And then we've got a little egg here, so just a quail's egg, a hard-boiled quail's egg, a bunch of coriander on top, and then within this gloopy broth we've got chicken, we've got crab, I can see some mushroom there. To go with it on the table, we've got some chili and some soy sauce. So we're going to put a little bit of those on top. We'll go chili first because I want to give it a bit of a kick. Actually, I'm just going to have just a tiny bit of that broth. Oh, that is good. It's got a real freshness from the coriander. Oh, that's a beautiful soup, but that needs the extras. So we're gonna put some chili in there. I think it needs to be just really kicked up. So we get a couple of big spoons of chili, bit of soy. Don't want to go too crazy. So you don't want to over soy because you can get way too salty on that, and that can sort of ruin the bowl. You can always put more, you can't put less. All right, I've got a bit of everything there, a nice big chunk of brain. Oh, that is so delicious. Wow, that chili is very spicy. Totally changes the flavor profile. The saltiness of the soy just lifted everything a little bit. Oh, that's good. Let's get into this this century egg as well. Oh, Oh, break that up. So you can see I've got a nice chunk of egg. We want some more brain. Oh, and look, some crab on there. Oh, that brain is so creamy. I can't even pick it up, it's so creamy. All right, a nice bit of brain. Oh, this is lovely. It's really, really good. What I love about it is the balance is perfect. So there was pepper on top. There was a little bit of saltiness, but I've added more by putting that soy on there. And then the freshness comes from the coriander, gives it a really fresh burst. An incredibly fresh burst. That sort of sits on top of everything else as a beautiful fresh flavour. The brain is not too strong. Brain cooked badly can be not the nicest flavour in the world, but that is a beautiful flavour. Texturally, it's amazing, so creamy. And then the soup itself is super creamy because of that tapioca starch broth that it's in. Sort of, it's not sticky in the mouth, but it's got a beautiful texture to it. And then everything else is just so subtle. So subtle flavour of crab. You've got that sort of chicken flavour in the broth. Some of these setups for street food here in Vietnam are great too. So we're eating in this little room over here, but it's all being cooked on the street at this little street food cart. So we've got a little cart right amongst all these flowers we spoke about before as well. So the smell of that beautiful broth and that soup cooking up and all those flowers combined to make one of the world's best smells. This is a very good soup in a really neat little area of Saigon.
I love eating in local markets because there's always so much going on. Like, you've got all of these scooters hooning past. There's life all around us. We're about to get run over. Now, we've walked about 20 minutes, or 20 meters rather, from our last stop to our next street food. And it's a very popular Vietnamese street food. It's a rice paper salad. Một tôi van chanh chambo. Oh, number 10? Is that okay? So this little rice paper salad stand is actually just in someone's house, or out the front of someone's house. And they've got all of these really delicious looking and smelling ingredients in front of us. So they do all sorts of different varieties and different plates. We've just gone with one which we've heard is really good. It's got butter in it, and it's got some quail eggs and all sorts of different sauces. This looks like such an interesting and unique snack. And what's really cool is the surroundings that we're in. We're sitting in this little laneway, which is just around the corner. Hi! Around the corner from the main street of the market. And then everyone's just sitting on these little stools at these tiny tables and tucking into their rice paper snack. So we've got two bowls here. The first is this one which is made up of cut up bits of rice paper, which is just like we had earlier on in the video. And then we've got this special concoction. So they had all different types of sort of mixes on the menu. This is just one of them. And I was really intrigued because it's made up of this special secret recipe, this dark sauce here. It's got a blob of butter, and then it's made up of some quail eggs, chopped up quail eggs, some spring onion, and then also these crispies. I'm not really sure what they are. Maybe mung bean crispies, not sure, but they do have a really beautiful sort of garlicky smell. So the idea is that you take the rice paper, so it's just cut up bits of rice paper, and it's got such a unique texture. It's almost like a plastic. And what you do is you just scoop this mixture onto your rice paper and eat it like so. So, all right, I've got a huge dollop of butter and then some of that quail egg mixture on there. Mmm. Whoa, that is delicious. This mixture is insane. So I got a huge hit of that creamy butter. It's a little bit sweet. The black sauce is actually very sweet too. And then the quail egg was super creamy. And I think that these are mung bean crispies. They're really crunchy and they've got a garlic flavour. This is such a unique snack. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of chip and dip. So the chips are the rice paper, and they're quite crunchy at first, but then when you put them in your mouth, they sort of soften up a bit. So good. I got a hit of sourness from that dark sauce and that mouthful. So it's sour, it's sweet, it's crunchy, it's creamy. It's a great interplay of textures and flavours. It's really fun to eat.
We've walked about 15 minutes to our next stop, and it's nighttime now. And what I love here in Vietnam, when the sun goes down, it gets a little bit cooler, people start to come out on the street, they just hang out, chat out in the street. It's a really nice environment, but that also means a whole lot of food sets up in the street because you don't have the sun beating down. So I can see just up ahead here, the next places we're gonna eat. So there's a couple of restaurants right here in this lane, and they're seafood restaurants, but they specialize in sea snails. So we're definitely gonna get some sea snails and just see what else they have on offer. We're gonna enjoy this nice cooler air at night and have some seafood in this lane.
Look at all of this incredible seafood which is lined up. There's all sorts of snails. Look at these giant ones here. There's oysters, crab claws, all sorts. Let's pick a few and dive in. This is Mo.
Sao tỏi đi.
So
Sao tỏi.
that's it. And this lady is trying so hard to help me with ordering. I've got the Vietnamese menu here, but obviously can't understand much of it. But she's pointing out all the different types of snails and how they can be cooked. Okay, so
Rồi Điệp mỡ hành, 2 con dương mỡ hành.
Bố.
Đâu? Ống hương, xào bơ.
What's really neat about these snail restaurants is that the cooking happens right on the street and in front of all the diners. So here they're cooking up some blood cockles. There's lots of green onions going on top of them over charcoal, and so it's really smoky. The atmosphere is really neat. And then there's also some, I think, looks like snails and corn being cooked in this little fry pan over here. It is all go.
A seafood feast has arrived on our table. So we've got 4 different dishes. I'll talk you through everything we've ordered. So this one here is the snails dish. So this is what we first mentioned we wanted to get here. So it's snails cooked in some butter. I'll just grab my chopsticks to show you. Look at that brown buttery sauce under there, and there's some corn in there, which should go really well because corn and butter is such a classic combo. And then to go with all that, we've got these scallops, and they've got a whole lot of green spring onions all over the top and peanuts sprinkled all over there, which is really neat. We've got this bowl of clams, which is in a broth, lovely shellfishy broth, and a lot of lemongrass cooked down in there, and I can see chili as well, all that lemongrass, so that should be really pungent. And then we've got these, which look very much like the scallops. I think they're a type of clam, cooked the same sort of way, so the peanut on top and the green onion. And then to go with that, you get some herbs and some calamansi, so some citrus, some chili, and a little salt and pepper mixture, so you can make up a slurry. Another dish has just shown up on our table. So honestly, we're not quite sure how many dishes we've ordered. So this is another type of sea snail. These ones are very pretty and cooked in that the brown sauce, so it looks like a butter sauce again. The atmosphere is wild. It's brilliant. Very helpful staff. But us with no Vietnamese and they have no English, so we've been trying to work out what they offer and what we're going to get. So far we have these 5 dishes. There may be more coming. I actually don't know, but what we've got so far looks super good. I almost don't know where to start. I think the snails with the corn is going to be my go-to first thing, but I'm going to make up a bit of a slurry, so I'll get some calamansi here and just, oh, look how juicy that is. And put it in with my salt and pepper just to make a nice little slurry so I can dip the shellfish in there. Let's grab one of these snails. I'll find the biggest, juiciest one I can. Look at that. Oh, it's really hot. Now, can I pull it out? No, let's get rid of the chopsticks. We'll go, I think, try and pull that out with my fingers. Oh, yes, nice meaty bit. Get it in that slurry, so a nice bit of salt and pepper. We've got a little bit of fish sauce and vinegar here. Oh, wow. Quite a chewy snail, but the flavour is amazing. The butter that's been cooked in, and she was putting a lot of butter in the pan when she was cooking them up. It's very deep, very rich, so the very strong flavour is the butter with that. I want to follow that up with a scallop because it's one of my favourite seafoods, and just look how pretty they look with the peanut on top and all those green onions. Now, I don't want any sauce or anything with this, I just want the scallie. You know what, I'm just going to go straight on in. Oh, yum. Very soft, very juicy scallop. What I like about that is the spring onions and the peanuts are a very strong, bold flavour. but they are the flavour. I was thinking there might be some chili or something hiding in there, which would knock down those flavours, but there wasn't. It's just this beautiful boldness from the spring onions, good hit of peanut, and then the scallop itself is beautiful, it's sweet and juicy.
The great thing about seafood is that you can just get in with your hands. So I'm just going to dive right into these clams here. So that, like Tom said, they've been cooked in lemongrass. And cooked to perfection. So they've been whipped out just as they've opened because they're really super juicy and tender. And that lemongrass flavour is really fragrant. All right, now we've got a whole plate of these snails to get into too. So I'm going to grab one of them. Wow, they're nice and hot. What about that little bit on the end? Ooh, he came right out very easily. Ooh, very meaty and tender, and that sauce is quite garlicky and very sweet. This atmosphere is neat. So all the fumes, or I shouldn't say fumes, the beautiful, delicious smells and smoke that's coming from the cooking, just wafting over our table, and you're just inhaling all those smells, tucking into the seafood. It's a great atmosphere.